tensions flared up between Israel and Hamas earlier this month, we have seen a deeply concerning trend of anti-Semitism in major U.S. cities. This time in Philadelphia, where an Israeli food truck has been banned from the monthly Taste of Home food festival. The co-organizer of the group, called Eat Up the Borders, cited threats over violent blowback from anti-Israeli protesters. Joining us to react is Morton Klein, National President of the Zionist Organization of America. Standing by as well, our panelists, Hal Lambert and Scott Walker, for this discussion. And I want to start this conversation with the event host's initial statement on why they excluded this Israeli food truck. They shared this on Instagram, saying, "Our mission at Eat Up the Borders is to uplift as many passionate small businesses in the Philadelphia area as possible. In order to best serve our guests, we decided to remove one of our food vendors for Sunday's event so that we could deliver an optimal experience to all. The decision came from listening to the community we wish to serve and love." Morton, I'll go to you. What do you make of the decision, first of all, to remove the Israeli food truck, and also the reasoning the group provided?
When you allow threats of violence to impact positively to those who threaten it, you're only going to get more threats of violence and violence. They absolutely should have said, no, we're keeping everyone in this event, and they bring in security to protect every vendor there. By caving into the threats of violence, they only are going to encourage more threats of violence. This was a horrible mistake that was made by the event sponsors.
Yeah, Hal Lambert, I'll go to you. It sounds to me, at least, that this is discrimination against a specific group of people, of course, an Israeli group of business owners here who are wanting to sell their product at what's supposedly an inclusive event here. What do you make of this decision and also the precedent that it might set? Hal?
Oh, it's a horrible precedent. And you know, it's pretty clear, they don't state it, but it's pretty clear that it's left-wing, PLO supporting people in their community, which, by the way, did they just call their community bigots? Because they said that they did this based on feedback from their own community. Look, this can't be tolerated. As was just said, they needed to bring in security. I assure you, if this had been, you know, the KKK saying they can't have an Israeli food truck, everybody would have jumped on board. The city would have, you know, brought out security. The police chief. Where are the comments from Washington on this? This can't be allowed to happen, because if this happens in Philadelphia, you're going to see it in New York, you're going to see it in Los Angeles, you're going to see it in San Francisco. It will spread. This is a test, and it can't be allowed to continue like this. And they shouldn't have canceled this event. They should have pushed back.
And Scott Walker, that really is the concern, right? This is one example. Of course, we've reported on several anti-Semitic attacks across the country. But is this something that could continue?
Well, this is absolutely something that should be concerning. We've seen it's part of a larger trend, not only of opposition to Israel, which, by the way, we should be more pro-Israel right now than ever before, considering all the attacks from Iran and surrounding terrorist groups around the state of Israel itself. But we should be supporting our Jewish friends and neighbors. But it's part of a larger trend we've seen for years on college campuses. We see it creeping into culture. We see it even in our communications, where the radical left says that they don't want to offend people, and therefore they push back about whether it's conservatives, in this case, whether it's anyone related to Israel, whether it's others practicing, whether it's Judeo-Christian values. They push back and say they don't want to be offensive, but what they're offending are the very people who have those values in the first place. Coexist means get along with what the liberals believe, not actually coexisting, and this is something we've got to stand up and push back on.
Yeah, it's so true. Great points here. We're learning that this official event was called off, again, just because of all the backlash that came forward, something that should never have been the case. Morton Klein, thank you for joining us on the program with your insight. Panelists, stick around. Got a lot more coming up on the show.